So Thomas Massie is on a rampage, and he's calling out the DOJ for covering up perpetrators' names. That's what he's doing. So here is Representative Thomas Massie. He reveals that Les Wexner, I don't know if you don't know who Les Wexner is.
He's a goblin.
He's a goblin. What's the
guy
company?
above Epstein.
What's the company?
Victoria's Secret.
Victoria's
He
Secret,
also
So
Abercrombie and Fitch.
So
the other guy in that trafficking ring got acquitted.
So Les Wexner runs Victoria's Secret, and he appointed the guy who was running Abercrombie and Fitch. I can't talk today. And that guy who he appointed got arrested for being PDF file.
Well, no, he was trafficking male model. I don't know if PDF file is in that one. Well, it doesn't matter. He's acquitted, so it's fine.
Yeah, okay. Massie says the department. So Representative Thomas Massie reveals that Les Wexner, the head of Victoria's Secret, has now been officially named as a co-conspirator in the Epstein child trafficking case. Massie says the Department of Justice attorney Todd Blanche was pressured into unredacting Wexner's name after public pressure. Massie now says Blanche, who's the deputy secretary of the Department of Justice, or the deputy attorney general, is that what they call him, is covering up the identities of 4 other major PDF files tied to Epstein's trafficking network. Let's listen.
An example of something, maybe it wasn't intentional on their part. I'd like to hear his take on the redaction of the CEO, who's listed as a co-conspirator in the 2019 child sex trafficking case.
So can I ask you, because, and I want to ask if this is the same person, Todd Blanche also said about that tonight that the document you're citing there has victim names in it,
Correct.
seeming to say that's why there are redactions. He said, we have just unredacted Les Wexner's name from this document, but his name already appears in the file thousands of other times, and he says the Justice Department is hiding nothing. Is that the retired CEO that you're referencing?
It is. He unredacted it after I found it. That's a problem, and I'm glad they've admitted they made a mistake by redacting that.
So you're saying it was redacted when you went in there today, and after you tweeted that, they unredacted it?
Correct. Now he's got 4 other names he needs to unredact. Did he respond?
So what happened was the FBI prepared the file, and then the Department of Justice went and redacted names that the FBI hadn't. And then Massie got a look at it, and he said, hey, why are you redacting Les Wexner's name? And those other 4 people? You shouldn't be doing that. So then the Department of Justice went in and then unredacted it. So that's what's happened. Okay.
There's a list of 20 people, and there's 4 men in there that need to be unredacted. Here's another troubling thing that I found.
Can you say who those 4 men are tonight?
I don't think they're well known, and so if I did, it wouldn't matter, but I could probably say them on the floor of the House, but I'll give the DOJ a chance.
So the reason why he wants to say them on the floor of the House is because you can say anything on the floor of the House, and you can't be held liable for it. So you can slander someone, you can make false allegations, you can do anything you want, and you're protected because you can say anything you want on the floor of the House, and nothing can happen to you. So I think maybe that's the reason why he wants to make sure he's insulated from from frivolous lawsuits. Okay.
To do what they did in these 2 examples, where I've discovered something and now they've responded.
Okay. So in response to my post on X today, the Department of Justice unredacted an FBI file that labels 2 individuals as co-conspirators. Unredacted a file that lists several men who might be implicated. Tacitly admitted that Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem was the sender of the torture videos. So there was a torture video in the files that someone sent to Jeffrey Epstein, and Jeffrey said, thanks for the torture video. Well, now it turns out we know who they redacted his name. It's the Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem. And find out what country he's from. I'm going to guess. And is it from United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia? Where's he from? Find out. You got it? You got it, right? I don't think there should be any redactions. I think every name should be revealed. Why? Because
you have Trump derangement syndrome, Jimmy. That's my guess.
Yeah, well, I'm on the list, and I didn't have anything to do with it.
Me too. Hey, I'm just an important person. Okay? Of course he targets relevant, important people like me.
The more resistance you put to having your name out there, the more you look like you're on the bad side of this arrangement. That's all I'm saying.
No, I brag my name's in it because I didn't do nothing
Me
wrong.
Too.
I'm just important.
So here is Todd Blanche. He's the Deputy Attorney General. He says the document you cite has numerous victims' names. We have just unredacted Lex Wessner's name from the document, but his name already appears in the files thousands of times. The DOJ is hiding nothing. Well, he got community noted on that. The cited document is an FBI email thread from 2019 discussing 10 potential co-conspirators in Epstein's case and contains no victim names. So they're just redacting perpetrators' names.
Wexler's a victim.
So Thomas Massey says this is significant because Kash Patel testified to Congress that FBI had no evidence of other traffickers. This is the FBI's own 2019 document listing Wexner as co-conspirator in child trafficking. It wasn't unredacted until tonight. Wow. And here it is again. He says, here the Department of Justice acts as if they were justified in redacting the men's names simply because the document contains victims' names. Tonight they learned you can redact victims' names while still publishing the other names per our law. So he says the document you said there, he says the department is committed to transparency. The document you cite has numerous victims' names. We have just unredacted the non-victim names. The DOJ unredacted some non-victim names in cited file post Massey's. So after Massey said, hey, why are you redacting these perps' names? And then they unredacted them. But some remain redacted. Some still remain redacted. Past errors exposed victims. Transparency claim opinion. Past December 2025 deadline. Okay, so here's another one. We looked at the document. You know it's an email address that was redacted. The law requires redactions for personally identifiable information, including if an email address. And you know that the Sultan's name is available unredacted in the files. So there was another community note. The government keeps getting community noted because they're lying constantly to cover up this PDF file ring. The claimed justification is inapplicable. Per the Act, redacting language on the basis it's personally identifiable information is allowed only for victim info. Moreover, the Act doesn't require redactions. It uses may. So Massey says, until tonight, no one knew who sent the torture video to Epstein. I went to the Department of Justice, unredacted the email, and reverse searched the email to discover it was a Sultan. Our law requires victims' information to be redacted, not information of men who sent Epstein torture porn.
Jimmy, I thought Netanyahu did it. And I look like a fool now because of what this Todd Blanche and the rest of them. So, first of all, I'd like to apologize to Bibi Netanyahu. The torture video was not from him, as I thought. And I'm sorry, Bibi. I'd like to apologize to you and your pig wife and your goofy-looking kid for that.
So, previously known about Sultan, that guy, he's the DP, he's the Emirate of Dubai. He's an Emirate of Dubai. He visited Epstein's townhouse on September 17, 2024. Same day Bill Gates was logged there. His name appeared in message pads and some redacted emails. His ties were framed as post-conviction business social contact, no public allegations of involvement in abuse. What's newly unredacted, revealed due to Representative Thomas Massey's direct pressure on the Department of Justice? Well, over a decade of close, ongoing contact with Epstein's 2008 conviction. Emails discussing personal SEX experiences, masseuses, business networking, including Mandelson and Barak. So that's Mandelson, the guy who just got sacked in England over this scandal, and Ehud Barak, the former prime minister of Israel. DNA kits, sacred artifacts, and potential intelligence-linked investments. Ben Sulayman sent Epstein a torture video email in a now unredacted email. Newly public photo of Epstein and bin Salman examining cloth resembling the kiswa, that's a sacred Kaaba covering. No hard evidence yet that bin Salman participated in Epstein's trafficking abuse, but the depth and duration of post-conviction contact is far more extensive than previously understood. Massey personally reviewed the files, identified the redacted sender, and forced transparency.
Now, Massey is the enemy of lizards everywhere, isn't he?
Yeah. So James Lee says, I can't think of any other reason why the Department of Justice redacted Lex Wessner's name other than, of course, to protect Israel. Wow, that's James Lee is a fanatical white supremacist, doesn't he?
Isn't he? His far-right nonsense, Jimmy, and his woke far-rightness, it's becoming a real problem.
What was already known was that Wexner's extensive financial and personal ties to Epstein have been public for years, since 2019, reporting in the New York Times, Bloomberg, and in civil lawsuits. Epstein had full power of attorney over Wexner's finances for over a decade.
What?
Wexner provided Epstein with the Manhattan townhouse valued at $77 million. You know that Epstein lived in the biggest private house in Manhattan, and it was given to him by Les Wexner, apparently.
You know why? Yeah.
Allegations surfaced in Virginia Guffray's deposition and Maria Farmer's accounts that Epstein used Victoria's Secret connections for recruitment. Wexner's name appeared in flight logs, the Black Book, and prior unreleased docs, but always in the context of association, not criminal conspiracy.
Yeah. So Epstein, they made it look like he victimized this lonely old man with some gay hijinks in the Netflix documentary. That's how they try to put it out there. But no, Wexner was initiating Epstein into the thing. The mega group is above Israel.
Yes.
Israel exists because of the mega group. So because Epstein is the spokesman of the Rothschilds, he's going to have to go through some weird shit, and that's why he's given the townhouse. Epstein, as we've seen, is not really impressive intellectually on any level. Because he's a puppet, he's not. That's why they're protecting Wexner. That guy is a demon.
That's right. So what is new? Well, what's new is that Massey and Ro Khanna confirmed today that unredacted FBI materials explicitly label Wexner and others as co-conspirators in the trafficking operation. This goes beyond prior public knowledge. No official law enforcement document had previously used that terminology for any male associate, calling them co-conspirators. The fact that the Department of Justice initially redacted Wexner's name, described only as a well-known retired CEO, and then unredacted it today after Massey's public pressure, further underscores that this level of detail was not previously released. Massey also reiterated there are at least 6 men's names in the materials that appear incriminating beyond mere association, with one tied to a foreign government. None of these specifics were confirmed in prior releases. So while many suspected deeper involvement based on the known ties, the former FBI co-conspirator framing and the additional names are genuinely new from today's congressional review. More lawmakers are reviewing tomorrow, so expect potential further disclosures. Wow. Whitney Webb's, this is a reminder that Whitney Webb in April 28th of 2020, she said, here's your reminder that Leslie Wexner financed the mass rape and trafficking of thousands of American children for over a decade, and right now he is sitting in a 26,000 square foot mansion in New Albany, Ohio, thinking that he is above the law. She said that in April of 2020. Whitney Webb, always light years ahead of the rest of us.
I mean, she really did put out a lot of great info that is borne out to be the truth, hasn't it?
Yeah. And so now here is Massey gonna completely embarrass the Department of Justice for covering up the redacted names of the PDF files or the alleged co-conspirators with Jeffrey Epstein. So he got it redacted. They redacted a sultan's name from the Emirates, right? He's a sultan from the Emirate of Dubai. Okay. And so watch Massey is going to just wreck her. Pam Bondi, as they say, unravels under questioning by Thomas Massey. You want to see this? This is pretty amazing. And all she has left is to try to insult him. And, well, let's watch.
Are you able to track who in your organization made this massive failure and released the victims' names? Are you able to track who it was?
So they already released all these victim names, the Department of Justice, which they were not supposed to do. But at the same time, they are redacting the co-conspirators, the guys, everybody's names they want to know. People who are not victims, they're redacting, but they unredacted the victims' names. And so he's putting the heat on Pam Bondi. Do you know who did this?
Are you able to track who in your organization made this massive failure and released the victims' names? Are you able to track who it was that obscured Les Wexner's name as a co-conspirator in an FBI document? Do you have that kind of accountability?
I believe Wexner's name was listed more than 4,000 times.
Yeah, I already told you that. This is where he's listed as a co-conspirator.
Can I finish my answer? Come on, let me finish my answer. We corrected that within 40 minutes. He was already, you're acting like everybody's trying to cover up Wexner's name.
Reclaiming my time.
I'm going to answer this question.
Reclaiming my time.
Mr.
Chairman.
This is how this works.
Can I have my time?
Mr.
Chairman.
The gentlelady can give her answer. The time belongs to the gentleman from.
All right, I'm reclaiming my time.
Can I give my answer?
So yes. I'm going to put the language of the bill up on the screen.
Chairman, may I give my answer on that?
Yeah.
It's a political joke, and I need to give my answer on that.
We'll let the Attorney General respond, and then the gentleman can move to the next question.
My time.
Within 40 minutes, you asked me a question. Within 40 minutes, Wexner's name was added back.
Within 40 minutes of me catching you red-handed.
There was one redaction out of over 4,700, and we invited you in. This guy has Trump derangement syndrome. He needs to get. You're a failed politician. You need to get on to matter.
Chairman, please restore his time and remind the witness of the rules here.
She calls him a failed politician. So what is the definition of a successful politician? Does that mean they can all be found in a photo with Jeffrey Epstein?
That's exactly what it means. Yep. That's right. That's exactly what it means.
So he's going to show. So now Thomas Massey shows Kash Patel lying. Watch this.
And remind the witness of the rules here.
There is no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals.
So there's Kash Patel lying, saying there's no information that showed that Epstein trafficked to anybody else except himself. Okay. So now we know that's not true because the own FBI files list 20 co-conspirators. Okay.
Which we all know. Why did everybody accept this? Cash's Israeli beard won't let him prosecute is why he won't.
That's right. Here we go.
Is that your position as well?
So then he asks Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, is that your position as well, that there is no information implicating any other co-conspirators?
My position is any victim who comes forward, of course, we would love to hear from them. 1-800-CALL-FBI. Did you ask Merrick Garland that the last 4 years? Did you talk about Epstein?
I'm reclaiming my time. I'm glad you're asking about Merrick Garland.
You don't get to reclaim time
this is bigger than Watergate.
When I don't answer the question the way you want.
This goes over 4 administrations. You don't have to go back to Biden. Let's go back to Obama. Let's go back to George Bush. This cover-up spans decades, and you are responsible for this portion of it.
And that's
now,
where the
I want to know, at what point did the FBI and the DOJ decide that Lex Wexner was not a co-conspirator? Because our Epstein Files Transparency Act requires you, please put it back on the screen, please, to release the internal decision about whether to prosecute him or not, and it's not in the files, and it's not in the files for any of these other men.
Time of the gentleman has expired.
May she answer?
So when they made the decision that he wasn't a co-conspirator, the law states you're supposed to let us know the reasoning and the process you went through to come to that conclusion. And they didn't. They didn't. And so they're breaking the law. And here's her response. Her response is to call him a Trump derangement syndrome guy, to call him a failed politician. This is how she's completely melting down here. This is a real meltdown. This is not wait. The point is you're supposed to remain cool under fire, Pam Bondi. Even with your dodging questions, he got her to break. And now she's broken. Here, let's watch.
And he's a hypocrite because he voted against the ban that we were talking about on deep fake AI porn. Only 2 people voted against it, and you were one of them, hypocrite.
So that's
it's not hypocritical on any level. I don't even make the connection.
She just changes the subject. That's
you know what? I without even knowing about the AI fake porn ban, because Israelis own a bunch of the porn, so they're not going to ban porn. It probably was a thing to not make like my great rap video I made of Kash Patel. It's probably so you can't make fun of important people. I bet you the real reason for whatever that fake
that's right
Israel approved ban was.
That's right. So here's what Thomas Massie had to say after that.
I provided the evidence today that shows that his statements were false under oath. Kash Patel's statements were false. They are in possession. They were in possession at the time, and they're still in possession of evidence that other men participated in the sex trafficking.
Attorney General Bondi didn't seem to directly answer that question. I mean, what do you make of what she did say?
She didn't answer anything. She came here just ready to talk about the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ, which seems kind of crazy to me.
And so here she is. What's this guy's name? I don't like this guy.
Yeah,
but he's a Democrat. But watch how she melts down over him. Watch this. This is amazing. Yeah. They're just asking questions that should be asked. Finally,
there are 32 names. 1 is redacted. 31 are not. So someone looked at it and decided to redact something. And I will tell you that is clearly intentional to intimidate these survivors and victims. Now, in an interview last week...
How will you tell me that's intentional?
In an interview last week, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche...
You can't go off script.
...said that any victim that wants to speak with the department has done so, hopefully. Well, thanks to the incredibly brave people sitting here behind you, we can actually ask them if that's true. Now, would the survivors and victims who are here please stand up one more time? Just by show of hands, how many of you or your loved ones actually have met with the Department of Justice and provided testimony and estimate and evidence?
0.
None. And of those of you who have not met, which is everyone, how many of you have reached out either individually or through a lawyer or representative to offer to provide testimony and evidence?
Oh, all of them.
All of them.
All of them.
And of those,
and look at her just sitting there. So this is the face of someone in government, at the top of government, the Attorney General. This is the face she makes when she's being proven to be involved in a cover-up of the biggest child PDF trafficking ring we've ever uncovered in the world.
As all the AGs before her, going back to Mueller, going back to all of them, they only get the job because they help cover up a big important person PDF file scam. All these pieces of shit.
So this is the exact opposite of what Donald Trump and J.D. Vance promised when they ran for office, that they were going to be the most transparent administration in history. And this is them covering up the very thing that his base cared about the most. This is him. This is her and him covering up the very thing. That's what. And so here's all the victims. They all reached. They said, "Did you hear? Oh, we call 1-800 the FBI. We want to hear from you." They did, and they didn't ask. They didn't interview one of them.
And by the way, the files where people did give tips to the FBI, those are the ones. And some people are my friends, and they're just being cautious. I understand, but I don't know why you would be at this point. They're like, "Oh, well, this could be just a crazy person calling into the FBI." Yeah, you know what? I think they exaggerate how many crazy people are calling in because it's a good way to hide all the victims of these Draculas that run your country.
Those of you, all of you who have reached out, how many of you were denied or ignored by the Department of Justice?
All of them.
All of them. And despite the shameful and despicable efforts by Ms. Bondi and her department to intimidate you, how many of you are still willing to speak to the Department of Justice? All of them. Well, Ms. Bondi, it looks like you have some more witnesses to talk to.
Gentleman's time has expired.
And I yield back.
We will go to the good gentleman from North Carolina, Congressman Knott. Thank you.
Now watch, they give her time to respond to what he just did. Him revealing that they're covering this up and they have zero interest in actually talking to any of the victims. He got her. He exposed her. And the only thing she can do is the most schoolgirl, high school level thing you can think of. She changes the subject and starts to try to insult him. Yeah, everybody there is a piece of garbage. It's called government. But try to stay on topic, Pam.
That's what that punk from the Atlantic Council, what's his dumb name? Vlad Davidson. When I curb stomped him and they took the thing down, he tried to do schoolyard bullying to me like that.
Yeah.
But you're not going to take me with that motherfucker. Yo, I would destroy this bitch.
So let's watch this.
Have a moment, Congressman.
Did she have a moment?
Thank you. Here we go. Here's the photograph. This is why he wanted to repeat everything that had been said previously on Epstein. This is his state, New York. You probably don't even know who this is. Wahid Mohammed from Afghanistan.
Yes, because I'm no longer a prosecutor.
Convicted of assault. Wow, he represents New York. Wow, yet he doesn't care about the illegal aliens convicted of crimes, assault and homicide. No longer.
This has nothing to do with this hearing. This is all she can do is deflect, distract, and change the subject. This has nothing to do with the hearing. She's talking about illegal immigration. That's it.
A prosecutor, so he doesn't care about his constituents. Here we go.
So it's
not scoring points with anybody.
I haven't seen a meltdown like this in a long time. You're not supposed to melt down like that, Pam. You're supposed to stay cool. But this is so she brought this with her because she knew this was going to be her response to whatever they said, which was a non-response. So there is your Trump administration at the top of the government. Mm-hmm. They're running interference for the largest PDF trafficking ring in the world, and they're doing it right in your face. And they think we're all as compromised as cat turd. They all think that we have brain rot like cat turd does. They all think that we're sycophants to Donald Trump instead of being loyal to the Constitution. That's so there's a lot of creeps out there, cat turd being one of them. He's like the leader.
That's an operative. He's an operative. We know that. It's obvious. Yes. I have a question. Why does Pam Bondi have that photo ready to go?
That's right. That's what I said. She brought because she knew she wasn't going to respond to any of their actual questions or accusations. She was going to. Her only thing, Kurt, is to change the subject, which is what she's doing.
And she had nothing about Massey?
And nothing. She had nothing about. She couldn't defend herself about anything. They didn't interview any of those victims, even though they lied and said they did.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And she's got nothing to say about it, being caught covering up this ring. She got nothing to say about it. So let's change the subject and try to distract you.
I'm gonna just throw this wild speculation out there as a shaman. This guy who's always been a piece of shit and his lame attack, which is not as good as Massey's, I'll bet this has worked out because he's part of the same people that would also go to Epstein Island and love Israel and all that bullshit. So one thing I noticed is these people, since I've been talking to MK Monarch victims who are all fans of Jimmy Dore, the ones I talk to, they'll always tell me about how these things are worked out to do these little play acting things in these stupid, in these hearings. And Massey's not in it because they get, they're like,
yeah,
they have to improv suddenly.
All right. Well, there you go. And the fact that there's a sizable chunk of the Donald Trump MAGA base that completely rolled over on their principles and are loyal to Donald Trump instead of being loyal to the MAGA platform or to policies or to the Constitution, show you that what that's called a cult. So just like when people didn't want to believe that Joe Biden was demented and they lied and they repeated lies, that's a cult. Same thing right here. So if
low
you're
information,
if you're still going along with Donald Trump and Pam Bondi along, you are a sycophant to power. You have a fetish for Donald Trump. You don't have loyalty to our country. You don't have loyalty to our Constitution. You don't have loyalty to the policies that Donald Trump ran on. You have loyalty to a person. That's called a cult. That's the opposite of what you're supposed to do. You are the swamp. So now pieces of garbage like cat turd are the swamp. And they're cheering on swampness. They're cheering on the biggest cover-up of the biggest PDF ring in the world. That's what those people are doing.
He always was.
Wait, what do you want to do? You want to lose the midterms? I mean, that's the kind of shit people are saying.
Yes, and I want it to burn the fuck down.
Yes.
But
I
look,
love what Candace
didn't lose it. He was always an operative who tricked anyone that thought he wasn't. He was always part of it. If people talking this shit are in, they're not dumb.
Right.
They're in on it.
All right, we got it. If you want to hear my jokes about this, come see me in Lansing, Milwaukee, Albuquerque, Houston, Dallas, Salt Lake City, Las Vegas. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. Let's go take a break and we'll be right back. JP Morgan expects gold prices to surge to $6,300 per ounce by the end of 2026. This comes against a backdrop where gold has already moved into record territory, having surpassed $5,000 per ounce just this year. According to JP Morgan, this is more than just temporary market panic. They believe gold prices are being supported by a structural floor created by central banks and large institutional investors, as well as underlying macro pressures like geopolitical uncertainty and diversification away from paper assets. Even after the recent price pullbacks, JP Morgan says long-term momentum remains intact. And then there's silver. Silver continues to trade in triple digits, reflecting broader precious metals momentum. Many analysts now see silver pricing entering a repricing phase, with industrial demand and supply pressures driving interest. Silver's dual role, industrial use and monetary metal, makes its recent move noteworthy. There's a big reason institutions are talking about precious metals. If you want to learn more, Monetary Gold has a complimentary gold and silver guide. Visit jimmylovesgold.com or call 800-476-7790 to request.
Okay. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. FSO says Kerp needs a ritual goat's mask and priestly robes now that he's in the Epstein files. All hail Kerp, your derpness. They love banging in the wall. It feels like a white woman's flat ass. FSO. Oh, anonymous. I'm going to read this again. Your generosity. Barrett Brown would be a great guest to have on. Went to prison for 4 years after uncovering of Bank of America and U.S. Chamber of Commerce through the DOJ. Got help from Palantir, plus the private intelligence firms to target U.S. citizens. Highly recommend his memoir, My Glorious Defeats. All right, well, make sure to share that with the team. Connie Reloaded. Thank you, Connie. Netanyahu ain't going to be so tough in the Astro from the either to the Astro. I will be there. Netanyahu can't escape the upcoming Astro afterlife. Unvaccinated guy. We need a bunch of volunteers with cold sores to kiss the Wailing Wall. Had to misspell sores because the correct spelling of sores is banned YouTube. Really? That's crazy. Unvaccinated guy. And you're back. Anti-Semite crimes should be challenged with a DNA test to prove that Anglo grifters are not actually... Ooh, I'm not going to read the last term, but that's really interesting. To do a DNA test if somebody accuses me that I was anti-Semitic, and I could say, okay, before you got to do some DNA testing on this fella. I think I like it.
Ludnick is Trump's handler. I didn't even think of that, but clearly that's every time Trump comes with a different attitude, he's got that asshole standing behind him.
You got that one right. Imagine a stand-up show with Kerp and Doug Stanhope. I am the boot. The painter warned us. You got that right, Savage. The painter warned us. Say no to Sono. Dr. Richard Wood here. I love the enthusiasm for my post of ultrasound causing autism. Thanks. I published a video describing how ultrasound causes burn injuries and inflammation in fetal brains video at Say no to Sono 5061. And, we have a friend who is a medical practitioner, and his wife was pregnant, and they did not get an ultrasound. And he was just sharing with us, sometimes during the ultrasound, the baby will move away and shift positions because they want to get away from the ultrasound. Oh, my God. Why are we doing that to the little babies? It's crazy.
So, Kurt, would you say that...
Oh, back to Jimmy.
So there was a bunch of Hasidic Jews in New York. I tweeted out, and they are thousands of Jews reject Zionism, and it's claimed that the giant Zionists speak for Jews, right? We've seen this. There's a lot of... and then people say to me, people only say this when they don't know what Judaism is. Zionism is Judaism. What's wrong with criticizing Judaism? Because
Nick Fuentes dipshit fan, and Israel made Nick Fuentes, and Epstein is the father of what he did on 4chan, you morons.
It's not, no.
That's who's saying that.
That's not who's saying it. It's a different guy.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, they're an idiot, whoever they are. No, Zionism's not Judaism. It is not.
It's not Judaism.
By the way, Judaism, they don't have a pope, everybody. They don't have a pope. Israel tries to take all these separate sects scattered around the world and say they're the same thing, but no, they're not. We only have ultra-Orthodox because Zionists wanted to marginalize the Orthodox that didn't want the modern state of Israel. So they came up with a term to, like if you're an isolationist, if you want to blow up another country and take their shit, they go, what are you, an isolationist? That's the trick. So anybody saying that is a complete jerk-off who hasn't looked into it as much as me, is what I'll put out there.
Okay. Well, here, then I'll send you this guy's tweet, and then you respond to it. How about that?
That would be a pleasure, Jim. Take a break from bullying Cash Patel online.
Oh, we're back to me? How did that happen? Okay. I didn't even expect until I saw myself there, and I was like slouching. What was I doing? Okay, let's go here. Ask Kerp if he has read The Committee of 300 by Dr. John Coleman.
No, I did not.
That book names some of they in the mega group.
More than Whitey Webb did?
I don't know, but also I was catching an old episode of Candace Owens, and I just retweeted it, and she was talking about Mega and the Mega group in that episode.
Whitney talked about it first, and they're above Israel, the Mega group.
Those
are the Baal-worshipping fucks above Israel. Yeah. Those are the ones that were in charge of blackmailing Bill Clinton through Monica Lewinsky.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Yeah, the Mega group. And Leslie Wexner, this, according to him, I'm quoting him from his interview, as Whitey Webb pointed out very well. He thought he was going to die in a mountain, made a deal with a Dybbuk, which is in Judaism, the form of demon, not a fallen angel, a dead person. Sounds like a body thief from Scientology, kind of. And he made a deal with a Dybbuk so that he could live and this thing could possess him and do. He said this in an interview. And you know what? You saw the Britney Spears story from Monday. Nobody paid any attention to it, even though it sounds crazy as I'm saying it.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Massey was De Malloy, a Freemason youth pipeline. That's for trees. Unvaccinated.
Say what?
Says Massey was De Molay. DEMOLAY.
Okay. What does that mean?
And I don't know. A Freemason.
Well, Jacques de Molay is from the Templars, but what is it that... And by the way, just because someone's in these things, even though I don't like these groups, that don't mean you go to the after party. Do you understand? I'm in the Epstein files, but I didn't go to the party. The P. Diddy parties, not everybody went to the after party. You're getting scouted in these groups to see if you're cool. And if you're not cool, they're going to persecute you.
Well, yeah, there's an article one of our subscribers sent to us, and it has to do with the Playboy Mansion and Hugh Hefner. Using, these Instamatic cameras, to compromise people. And it's like, of course, where there's crazy, sexualization happening at a party, people are going to be compromised. You're going to be drinking. People, just horrifying. Netanyahu is worse than Fauci. Think about that. And Fauci deserves to be drawers and quartered. That's an unvaccinated guy. Not hard to think about that. Not hard to figure that part out about Netanyahu. Let's see. This says, Kerp, can you derp this? Is that whole tech circle frontmen for Yahtzee grandsons?
What?
I don't know. Is that
I have no
whole
idea.
tech circle frontmen for Yahtzee grandsons?
Whole tech, and what do you mean Yahtzee? Are you trying to say not? Can we not say Nazi?
Oh, maybe Nazi
YouTube?
grandson.
I
don't know.
I don't know.
And then Jimmy, if in Austin you and Derpberg come out to Taylor, free barbecue, Starship Outski. And that's from Texas Outgrown. Texas Grown. Thank you, Texas Grown. All right, back to Jimmy.